In an unprecedented move, 4 senior sitting judges of the Supreme Court of India, Justice J Chelameswar, Madan B. Lokur, Ranjan, Gogoi and Kurian Joseph, took on Chief Justice of India Dipak Misra for the administration of the Supreme Court not being in order. Chief Justice Dipak Misra was the point of ire. Justice Chelameswar, who is the Supreme Court's second most senior judge after the Chief Justice, said that the judges owe a responsibility to the institution and the nation and therefore have decided to come out in the open. Justice Chelameswar acknowledged that it was an extraordinary event in the history of the court, and he said the administration of the SC was not in order.
Unfortunately, our efforts failed. And my dear friends, we are all, 4 of us are convinced that unless this institution is preserved and it maintains its equanimity, the democracy will not survive in this country or any country. For the survival of a democracy, it is said.
A bit of a breaking news drama is taking place inside the Supreme Court of India. We have been given to believe that at 12 noon a whistle was blown to indicate that the judges that they had to move, Chief Justice of India and Justice Chandrachud and Karanwar, were asked to leave court number 1. So a lot of things are happening in the court. We'll keep on updating you. We are expecting a press conference of Chief Justice of India shortly, but before that, Justice Chelameswar further said that they have written a letter to the Chief Justice 2 months ago, but did not get a desirable reply from him. He added that the four judges had also called on the CJI on Friday morning, but were disappointed with Justice Dipak Misra's reaction to their plea. WION has accessed the letter. An excerpt from the letter says, and I quote, "There have been instances where case having far-reaching consequences for the nation and institutions have been assigned by the Chief Justice of this court selectively to the benches of their preferences, without any rational basis of such assignment. This must be guarded against all costs," unquote. When asked if the 4 senior judges wanted the impeachment of the CJI, Justice Chelameswar simply said, "Let the nation decide." In December, Justice Chelameswar clashed with the Chief Justice over a case. He was hearing the Chief Justice reallocate the case. 4 other judges who agreed with him in declaring that he is alone the master of the roster, which means he has the sole authority to decide who hears the case. That was reallocated, involving alleged corruption within the judiciary, and was based on the bribes and paid by a medical college in Lucknow that was seeking to reverse its blacklisting by the government. These are the issues which are being raised. These are the issues which the judges have raised. In the meanwhile, the Chief Justice Dipak Misra has called upon the Attorney General of India, and according to sources, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken to Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad. These unprecedented revelations by the sitting Supreme Court judges have shaken everyone. And now breaking news coming in, 2 more judges have reportedly met Justice J Chelameswar at his residence. Further pressure on the Chief Justice of India.
So you have said one of the issues was...
Chief Justice of India will shortly address media along with Attorney General K.K. Venugopal. Now, before we go in for the press conference, let's listen in some of the reactions coming in.
It is the most unfortunate and saddest day, not only for Indian judiciary, but for Indian democracy. Even under Contempt of Court Act, truth is not supposed to be the valid defense. And even if there are certain differences in opinions among themselves, but those could have been sorted out by a different way rather than by holding a public press conference. And I personally feel that it should not set up as a precedent for the lower judiciary.
Judge must always be above suspicion, like Caesar's wife. And the judge must not, the concerned person against whom there is an iota of suspicion, should not deal with it, the matter either administratively or judicially. So this is, if there was a matter before one bench, I personally believe that it should have been allowed to go ahead. Why remove that from that bench?
That this is a sad day for our judicial system. It is a sad day for India's democracy. It is a sad day for everything that we have held dear. This press conference will strike at the root of institutional integrity of the higher judiciary. It has raised question marks about the credibility of the system as such, and has directly cast aspersions on the head of the Indian judiciary, namely the Chief Justice of India.
Yes, I have written letters to my colleague judges of do's and don'ts about on various things, but no one went to the press. But this is appalling. How can you administer the Supreme Court by press conferences? And all right, what will this press conference do? Are you going to hold a referendum? Are you going to ask the people now to say who is right and who is wrong? I mean, this is absolutely appalling. What is going on?
चारों जजेस की मेरी जो राय है उनके बारे है सबसे उच्च कोटि में है कि ये बुद्धिजीवी हैं, ये ज्ञानी हैं, ये अपने के लिए नहीं कर रहे हैं, और तो इसीलिए जब उन्होंने ऐसी बात प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस बुला के कह दिए तो इस पर समाधान निकालनी चाहिए। और क्योंकि चीफ जस्टिस और इनके बीच में कुछ सुलह नहीं हो सकी आपस में बैठकर, तो मैं समझता हूँ कि आज एक ही बाकी है और प्रधानमंत्री वो अपनी सेवा का प्रस्तुत करें।
So, these are the issues which concern everyone, but the most important part is that this story is not going to end here. The story will ultimately end as to what the Prime Minister or the government of the day decides to do with the institutional judiciary. What will happen when it comes to judicial reforms? What is the position which Dipak Misra is going to take? What is the position of these judges going to take? Everything will depend on that, because judiciary as an institution will have to work out a way in which it reforms itself, at least in the eyes of the people. Now let's listen into what the judges had to say.
This is an extraordinary event.
Sir, please little louder.
It's an extraordinary event in the history of any nation, and more particularly this nation, and extraordinary event in the history of this institution of judiciary. It is with no pleasure in our hearts we were compelled to take this decision to call for a press conference. But sometimes the administration of the Supreme Court is not in order. There are many things which are less than desirable which have happened in the last few months. Time and again, as senior members of the court, and goes without saying that we are the senior most judges of the country also by virtue of age and our office today, senior judges, we thought we owed a responsibility to the institution, to the nation. We tried to collectively persuade the Chief Justice that certain things are not in order, therefore you should take remedial measures. Unfortunately, our efforts failed. And my dear friends, we are all, four of us are convinced that unless this institution is preserved and it maintains its equanimity, the democracy will not survive in this country or any country. For the survival of a democracy, it is said, the hallmark of a good democracy is an independent and impartial judge. The judge is symbolic here, is the institution. Judge, the statement, but judge in the context means the judiciary. Now, well, anyway, a lot of things have been published in the press, pro, contrary, whatever it is. We are not entering a regular, it's not a political meeting where we go into all this controversy. But since all our efforts failed, even this morning on a particular issue, four of us went and met the Honorable the Chief Justice of India with a specific request, which we could not unfortunately convince him that we were right and the appropriate decision is to be taken. We couldn't convince him. Therefore, we were left with no choice except to communicate it to the nation that please take care of the institution and take care of the nation, because we have heard a lot of wise men talking in this country earlier. I don't want another 20 years later some very wise man in this country blame that Chelameswar, Ranjan, Gogoi, Madan, Lokur and Kurian Joseph sold their souls. They didn't take care of this institution. They didn't take care of the interests of this nation. We don't want it to be set. So we place it before the people of this country. That's all, gentlemen, we wanted to inform you.
Sir, what are the... I'm being joined by senior lawyer Mr. J.C. Batra. Mr. Batra, thank you so much for joining us on WION. Mr. Batra, how do you see the situation? Because the sources in the government say that, you know, it's an internal matter of the judiciary. Is there a common ground, sir?
Hello?
Mr.
The senior-most judge, Batra is this side.
Yes,
senior-most judge is a genius, but there's a very thin line between genius and a madman. He should, you know, think not the only savior of democracy in this country.
So what should
not the only savior of independent judiciary. Mm-hmm. He is assuming too much of power in himself.
So what should be happening, sir, in your opinion?
Well, I think it will happen for the best. We have a very independent judiciary already, and we are proud of it.
Sir, you know, can there be a common ground after this public displeasure, or to use the word dismay? Can our senior judges work together, sir?
Actually, the judiciary.
I think there's a bit of a problem with this phone line. We'll try to, get back to you on this issue, sir. The larger point which a lot of people have made, is the judges have made, that something needs to be done. Now, the 3 of the 4 senior most judges who spoke are retiring this year. Now, except Justice Gogoi, who's going to continue in his position. So it's not as if those who are leaving the office or retiring are the ones who have spoken. Those who will continue to be in office have spoken.
One of the issues was the rocks and everything, photocopying takes time. It would be further speculation. So you have said one of the issues was about lawyers. Is it about lawyers?
I think whatever Justice Chelameswar has told you is the whole of it. It's a discharge of a debt to the nation that has brought us here, and we think that we have discharged a debt to the nation by telling you what is what. More is there in the letter. Beyond this, I don't think there is any other issue.
So now let's dip into some of the reactions which had come in. A lot of people have spoken now. Politicians have also started to address this issue.
It is the most unfortunate and saddest day, not only for Indian judiciary, but for Indian democracy. Even under Contempt of Court Act, truth is not supposed to be the valid defense. And even if there are certain differences in opinions among themselves, but those could have been sorted out by a different way rather than by holding a public press conference. And I personally feel that it should not set up as a precedent for the lower judiciary.
Judge must always be above suspicion, like Caesar's wife. And the judge must not, the concerned person against whom there is an iota of suspicion, should not deal with it, the matter either administratively or judicially. So this is, if there was a matter before one bench, I personally believe that it should have been allowed to go ahead. Why remove that from that bench?
That this is a sad day for our judicial system. It is a sad day for India's democracy. It is a sad day for everything that we have held dear. This press conference will strike at the root of institutional integrity of the higher judiciary. It has raised question marks about the credibility of the system as such, and has directly cast aspersions on the head of the Indian judiciary, namely the Chief Justice of India.
I have written letters to my colleague judges of do's and don'ts about on various things, but no one went to the press. But this is appalling. How can you administer the Supreme Court by press conferences? And all right, what will this press conference do? Are you going to hold a referendum? Are you going to ask the people now to say who is right and who is wrong? I mean, this is absolutely appalling. What is going on?
Welcome this.
But ma'am, do you think there is any pressure of the centre or any interference?
This is the one question that I asked them. They did not answer directly, but let's wait and see. The answers will come.
So Justice Loya's investigation is also...
Yes, they indicated very clearly.
Did they mention
that? They did indicate very clearly that the visit of the 4 judges to the Chief Justice this morning was in connection to the assignment of the case relating to the investigation into the death of Justice Loya to a particular bench. That's what they indicated it.
And let me go across to Mr. Colin Gonsalves, senior lawyer. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us at WION. Sir, the charges have been made, aspersions have been casted, doubts are there in public glare. We expect Chief Justice of India to address the matter. So, but will the judiciary be able to, or the judiciary or the apex court will be able to resume its equilibrium?
Well, the first thing to restore equilibrium, the first step has already been taken today by these 4 judges, and I applaud them for standing up and doing an extraordinary act, taking an extraordinary step which has never been taken in the history of the Supreme Court before. And I applaud them for standing up for the independence of the judiciary. And if at all the Supreme Court is to correct itself and go on a correct path, I think these 4 judges have taken a historic step today. The discussion that went on today has been going on in the corridors of the Supreme Court for over a year. And lawyers have been very perturbed, very upset by certain developments taking place. They expected that things would be resolved. They expected that transparency and fairness would be restored, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen for a very long time, and history seemed to repeat itself again and again and again. I suppose these 4 judges had really no other option but to take the option that they took today, and I think it is a fearless step to uphold the independence of the judiciary from interference by the executive that has reached monstrous proportions. The executive interference is akin to Indira Gandhi's interference during the period of the emergency. It's a different political period today, but the interference is of a very, very high order. And I applaud these judges for taking a stand to strengthen the independence of the judiciary.
So then, the charges was on the composition, arbitrary appointment, the arbitrary decision on the strength, and in the letter which has been released, they basically said that this was impacting the integrity of the judiciary. So, is it possible for the Chief Justice of India to continue to function?
Look, I don't want to make any comment on the Chief Justice and what he should or should not do, but I certainly want to say that in the perception of lawyers, there are many issues that are coming up which are not redressed. And if this is the only way in which judges can, speak up and be heard by actually doing a press conference which is unprecedented, then so be it. Anything which strengthens the institution, we must be grateful for that, and we must commend the courage of the judges in doing what they had done.
So you said that it's a very bold step they have taken. It's the first step, but every step should lead to somewhere. What should this step lead to, sir?
Well, it should lead to, first of all, the restoration of transparency and fairness in the allocation of cases to benches. And when a case is allocated by the Chief Justice, and this is the issue arising here, there must be an element of transparency and fairness so that all the judges know on what basis matters are being treated, and the lawyers themselves understand on what basis it is being sent to different benches. That seems to be the core issue arising now in this dispute, and it's something that has been festering for a very long time. Justice must seem to be done. Justice must appear to be done. Justice must in fact be done. And that is what the lawyers are concerned about.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gonsalves, for sharing your perspective. I'm also joined by another CA lawyer, Mr. Abad Panda. Sir, my question to you is, as you heard Mr. Gonsalves say, that it's a bold step. Do you agree with this in principle, sir?
I am actually very upset at whatever has happened. Being a practicing lawyer for more than 25 years, it pains me to see that there is disruption in the judiciary and lack of unanimity amongst them. While the Honorable Chief Justice of India is the master of the roster, and while the Honorable Chief Justice of India has absolute control over his roster, he has superiority over the other judges only on the administrative side. Amongst the judicial powers, they are all equals, the Chief Justice being only the first among equals. If the Chief Justice has erred in doing something, it would always be better if these things are patched up within the collegium, because the 4 honorable judges who have written a letter are part of the 5-judge collegium of the Supreme Court. I would have really hoped and prayed that this was done in closed doors. I believe that effort must have been made, and therefore this has become public. This is a matter of the reputation and prestige of one of the strongest pillars of democracy, namely the judiciary. The Indian judiciary is known for having an upright and a powerful judiciary. I am just hoping and praying that this imbroglio and this kind of a stalemate and this kind of a problem that takes place gets sorted out at the earliest, and litigants and unscrupulous people don't get a chance to take advantage of what's happening. It is very, very sad that questions are being done in the open. I agree that it's a bold move, and I have reason to believe that this is a move taken once all efforts to do it in the closed doors has failed. But having said that, it pains me to see that this is what is happening in the highest court of our country. It is sending a very, very unhealthy signal in the entire judiciary amongst lawyers and the persons of the legal fraternity. As I said, it's a bold step, but it's very, very painful as a practicing lawyer to see what is happening. 4 judges of the collegium, the senior-most judges, 2 to 5, have taken this very bold step. They have, in their letter, which I have gone through, refrained from giving details of the other cases, and in the last paragraph said, at the appropriate stage we'll do that, but initially, with respect to the memorandum of procedure, you are required to kindly consider explanation about why the judges involved in the Supreme Court on Record Association of 2016 judgment, where the MOP was recommended, is not given to the same judges, and the benches were changed only to defer it on the ground that the centre should take steps to find out, where the centre didn't find any objection with the MOP drafted by the Supreme Court and by the collegium. This stalemate, this kind of a problem, needs to be tackled very, very sensitively. It should be tackled at a level which is more transparent from the public point of view, but nevertheless opaque from the public point of view. Whatever differences that are there should be thrashed out among the collegium. And I really pray that we don't have a situation where our top 5 judges have to only speak out on the media because of lack of communication amongst them.
Mr. Bonner,
I wish this happens within their 4 corners and they close it within their doors.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner, for giving us this perspective and insight that. And let's go across to Justice Hegde.
Sorry, an institution for 70 years after we became independent has had the confidence of the people of India, is today being denigrated publicly. That doesn't mean that the cause for which they did was wrong. Yes, there are serious allegations which should be inquired into and a solution found, but not through the media. No, it should be done within the family of judiciary. Us outsiders also, some selected people to come into the system, find out what is wrong with the system. But not the way it has been done today. I just heard from one of the media people, telephoned to me and said, the Chief Justice has also called a conference, and very unfortunate. You are not going to discuss this matter publicly and ask for public vote. Democracy, the people are elected by this thing, that's a different system. The judicial integrity cannot be questioned by public opinion. Judicial integrity is something different from public opinion. I'm very sorry what is that.
So are you saying that it's a matter
of government? It's not a question of anybody. The judiciary itself could have had a retired judges whose reputation is very clean to come and have a discussion with the thing and all. They could have called legal experts who are not judges but then legal experts in the field and all. You could have taken the bar into confidence also. Select these people, form a committee, and in the committee you could have got a decision of what's happening is wrong. But now coming to the media, now Chief Justice comes to the media, the Law Minister will come to media. Everybody like me also am coming to media and talking about it.
So, Justice Hegde talking about the fact, taking a different opinion, saying that this matter should have been resolved within. There are a lot of people with different point of view. Some are saying it's a brave step, some are saying it should have been resolved. The government says it's a matter of judiciary. This is the topmost, the most important story of the day, breaking from India. We'll keep our eyes on it, but time for a short break. We'll be back with more after the other side.